Roman Reigns gets pinned by Solo Sikoa? And Riyadh is the third most populous city in the Middle East? The real reason Kevin Owens and Randy Orton is cooled off? And Riyadh is derived from the Arabic word rada, which means gardens, reflecting the historical presence of natural oases and lush areas within the region. And Sami Zayn kind of reunites the original Bloodline lineup. And Riyadh is one of the world's brightest cities with over 8 hours of sunlight each day. I'm Ollie Davis. Book your holiday to the progressive, beautiful city of Riyadh now! Look at it! Look at how beautiful and progressive it is! And this is my review of the Crown Jewel Saudi Arabian Tourist Board special in about 10 minutes.
Support WrestleTalk!
Quickly before I get into the show review though, Indy Hartwell and Tegan Nox were released from WWE on Friday the 1st of November. Baron Corbin also confirmed on social media that he was also leaving the company when his contract expires. Fightful Select has now added that staff members and talent backstage felt the release of the 28-year-old Hartwell was the most unexpected, as she had only just competed on that night's episode of SmackDown, which had been taped the Friday before due to the trip to Saudi Arabia, and that she had been improving and coming into her own in social media skits lately. Hartwell had first signed with WWE in 2019, making her NXT TV debut in January 2020, where she would win both the NXT Women's Championship and the Women's Tag Team Championships. She was called up to the main roster in 2023, but got somewhat lost in the shuffle. Over to Crown Jewel, the PLE started with Michael Cole telling us exactly where Riyadh is on Google Maps. Book your flights now. And we then got an opening video package that was part Saudi Arabian tourist commercial, part rejected Black Adam trailer. Compared to a year's worth of big sellout gates abroad, the reported 13,000-seater capacity here occasionally looked a bit empty or overproduced visually, as though the entire thing took place on a soundstage. The crowd did sound very hot though, even if it was often just for themselves. But spare a thought for this one fan with a CM Punk sign in the crowd right after the opening pyro. I'm sorry to disappoint you, kid. I don't think he's showing up. Because CM Punk wasn't on the card, the Bloodline didn't have to steal his main event, meaning the new versus old blood 6-man tag opened the show. The story was established perfectly from the very start. While New Blood all came out together, all in matching red and black gear, Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso came out together, while their only recently reunited Uso, Jay, got his own entrance and baby blue attire. Roman and Jimmy visually had more in common with the black and red of their opponents than they did with their own teammate. It was a clear visual reminder that New Blood are all on the same page, but Roman, Jimmy and Jay aren't there just yet, sowing the seeds of how the OTC could be beaten, which I would argue should have also been the case when Roman and Cody should have lost at last month's Bad Blood tag match. This initially started quite jovially though. Roman let Jay start the match, showing that he's trying to see his cousins as equals, not subordinates now, and the Usos were working together like it was a house show, doing some body-popping slaps on Jacob Fatu while Roman smiled on the ring apron. It didn't scream vicious blood feud, but that was really all just a sense of false security. The crowd were going crazy chanting for a Roman hot tag, but Jay tagged in Jimmy instead, and that single act, likely driven by Jay's previous resentment, let a totally in sync New Blood get on top. Jimmy got worked over, Jay got worked over, building to the inevitable Roman hot tag, which finally gave us Reigns versus Solo in the middle of the ring. Sikoa, who damn near killed John Cena around this time last year. What will he make of Roman now that they're... Oh, okay, Roman's just going to quite easily beat him up. WWE has been booking Sikoa so weakly, in fact, even his visible 3 counts are undermined. Just by having Tongaloa's botchy aura nearby, Jimmy was too late to break up Solo's spike near fall on Roman. It meant the referee had to awkwardly just not count 3, even though there was no kick out or break up. The action quickly moved the crowd on from the botch though, with everyone hitting their moves, Fatu taking out both Usos, the compulsory Bloodline ref bump spot. Even though I'm not sure why that needed to happen, as everyone in the ring was also in the match. 2 Solo spikes and Sikoa got the winning pin on Roman Reigns, which I'm actually so happy about because New Blood desperately need to look credible, especially if there's going to be a War Games match at Survivor Series. But also, didn't like it that much, because I also now owe Luke £10.
You think WWE is going to book Roman Reigns to take a pinfall loss when Jimmy Uso is right there? I feel so strongly that WWE will not book Roman to lose.
No, and so do I.
What do you want to do?
10 quid?
10 quid.
It also meant that, briefly, someone had the official Crown Jewel Wikipedia results listing the winner as the Temu Bloodline. But wait! There's more. Roman tried to grab the Ula Fala from Solo in the post-match, prompting New Blood beating their older family members up. Progressing from his tension with Reigns in the actual match, Jay actually sacrificed himself for Roman being put through a table. The New Blood were about to Pillmanize Jay's neck in a chair when Sami Zayn ran down. But whose side was he on? He was seen talking in the parking lot with Solo on Monday's Raw. He went to hug Solo, and I genuinely yelped out loud, but thankfully, it was all a ruse. He hit an exploder suplex on Solo, and the OTC lineup cleared house, leaving Solo stuck in the middle of all four of them in a great visual. But then Sami charged with a haluva kick at the same time that Roman went for a spear, and Zayn ended up laying Reigns out. This was very good, setting up the next month of War Games build of Sami and Jay getting on the same page as Roman and Jimmy. But never mind that, Cole wants to tell us some more amazing facts about Riyadh. 7.5 million people live there. Wow, that's a number. Considering how bland the division's feuds have been, the Women's Tag Team Championship match massively exceeded my expectations. Each of the four teams brought something different to the mix. Bianca and Jade were the defending champions, Legend and Jackson were the disrespectful upstarts, Damage Control were the excellent wrestlers, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven provided the comedy. It meant that the match could shift from the hoss fight tension of Legend and Cargill going face to face, well, I actually felt like Lash came off looking better with some brutal chops, to Piper accidentally sitting on Green without it feeling clunky. An even better comedy spot was when Chelsea went to do a dive off the top rope outside, but kept downgrading how dangerous it would be, eventually just doing a gentle leap into Niven's arms. Green was so good in this match, also bumping around for the Metaphor girls. I was rooting for her to get a surprise win, like she gets knocked out in the chaos and falls on top of an also unconscious Jackson to accidentally get a 3 count and win the belts. Unfortunately, it was the opposite. Green and Niven suffered a miscommunication, Niven Vader bombed Chelsea, and then Bianca and Jade hit a Doomsday device on Piper to retain. A very fun match, but a result that means we're right back to the same stale tag title scene. But never mind that, because did you know Riyadh is visited by 5 million tourists annually? Next up was Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed, a wild blood feud that saw Seth get taken to a local medical facility on Monday's Raw because of a back injury. How will that historically fragile body part affect Seth's chances against the unstoppable force that is Bronson Reed? Oh, it's totally fine. It didn't actually affect him once. Seth ran up the ramp to start brawling with Bronson during his entrance, stirring up their finishers, so when the bell finally rang, Reed hit a tsunami and then Rollins hit a stomp. Bronson kept kicking out of Seth's best stuff, but Seth also kept kicking out of Rollins's. Reed went to use the steel steps outside, but Rollins countered with a stomp onto them, a second stomp in the ring, and a third super stomp to win the match. This was really fun, but seeing that Reed lost to Braun Strowman, I felt he needed the win here against Seth. They should have used Monday's back injury as a reason for why and to build a rematch. Instead, Bronson stood up despite all those stomps in the post-match, with blood trickling down his head, showing he's a badass, presumably setting up a second bout. Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan was the first of the night's 2 Crown Jewel Championships, but technically trophies, matches, meaning we got our first look at one of the worst AR graphics I've seen in ages. The Crown Jewel belt being towed along by a troop of CGI camels. This match was always going to struggle with a heel versus heel dynamic, so it was booked as the shortest match on the card with maximum smoke and mirrors. Barely 5 minutes in saw Tiffany Stratton run down to cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase to be told no by Nia. Then Judgment Day's Raquel and Dom appeared at ringside. They distracted the referee, letting Liv hit an Oblivion to win the gaudiest of the belts. But never mind that, because did you know Riyadh is the home to the WWE Experience site, which— whoa! Shut the front door! Is that the SmackDown fist they've got at the exhibition? Okay, that's pretty cool. Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton was cancelled on the night because of just too much hate. Both men made their entrances, but KO, wearing a cowboy Bob Orton shirt, who is Randy's father, attacked Randy with a chair. This started an uncontrollable brawl that didn't just see Owens stunner the referee, but also had Orton RKO Adam Pearce, when the Raw and SmackDown GMs tried to break it up, which might be leading to a Team Pearce versus Team Aldis match for Survivor Series. KO and Orton brawled into the crowd, where Owens hit a flying elbow off a raised area on on Orton through a table, and the PLE moved into its next commercial break thingy without the match ever having started. The direction seems to be Owens challenging Cody soon for the WWE title, possibly at Saturday night's main event in December, which should mean KO getting a win here to build him up. But the Wrestling Observer points out Triple H made the call to do this without beating Randy Orton. The speculation, particularly with Randy occasionally eyeing up Cody's belt like it's someone's cleavage, is that he'll face Rhodes too early next year. LA Knight was the third wheel in the United States three-way with Carmelo, Hayes and Andrade. The second shortest match on the card focused on Hayes and Andrade blood feuding with each other, while Knight would get involved in three-way spots. It was good character-driven action, with the threat that Knight doesn't have to get pinned to lose his belt. Ultimately, he inserted himself spectacularly into one of their moves. Hayes attempting a tilt-a-whirl on Andrade, hitting a BFT to retain. This was exciting stuff, but it was really just a filler match to a bigger program at Survivor Series. Usually, WWE's bragging rights stories come off too corporate. They're about representing your brand's honor, even when that doesn't fit with the character. But Gunther versus Cody Rhodes has been different. It's been about one of my favorite kinds of feud you can do in wrestling. A clash of philosophies. Cody is the face of the company sports entertainer. Gunther is the heel ring general. One does it for the fans, the other does it for the brutal respect of the mat. And they played this styles clash through the match. Cody's flashier moves, like his dad's bionic elbow or a dive outside, would just be met with simple but effective chops. Gunther would smother Cody's fire with sleepers, Boston crabs, then more sleepers. Rhodes' comeback came with the mandatory multiple crossroads and kickouts. Gunther would elevate his offense with power bombs, but in the end it was Cody's intelligence that won on the night. Gunther has said he was going to make Cody go to sleep during the build. Rhodes possibly suckered Gunther into countering his super Cody cutter into a sleeper, which Rhodes rolled back over on to get a pin, winning clean. This was a really good main event that felt like just a tease of what could be to come in a sequel, with Gunther only just being bested on this night. Gunther shook Cody's hand afterwards, hopefully setting up that rematch one day, and Cody posed with the absolutely enormous belt. Sammy stuff aside, this was mostly a filler show to pop the Saudi sports board. Crown Jewel 2024 is 70%. We've had a guest spot of PFK's Survival Series on the WrestleTalk channel. It's up right now. Watch us all and Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez try to name every War Games participant ever. Here's a clip.
I would like you to tell me every single War Games participant.
Oh, God.
In no order. So this includes the NWA, WCW, NXT, and WWE versions of War Games.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I don't think I know a single War Games participant from WCW.
So unfortunately, this does not include Lethal Lockdown.
Blood and Guts?
Or Blood and Guts. Those are not War Games matches. Those
Okay.
are Blood and Guts matches.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, but there's not. It
similar
is
gimmicks, though, aren't
similar,
they?
isn't it? But it's also legally distinct. With that said, Dan, name me someone who has been in a War Games match.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, ding!
Adrenaline in my soul.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeet. Try and start this in reverse chronological order or some such form of it.